Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Mandy. We're going to do a swipe on this 12-inch MDF. I'm using Phthalo blue as a puddle on the bottom. This is Atelier Free Flow. And let me show you the colors. The swipe does take a really long time because I messed up a lot, so I'm doing a voiceover for that part. And this is Australian Red Violet from Matisse. Both of those colors were a little thick, so I thinned them down a little bit with some Josonia. And this is Dioxazine Purple from Atelier Free Flow. And this is French Silk from Colourarte. It's a PrizmPour color. It kind of has gold interference and kind of a cream base. And this is Cosmos. Everything I kind of patterned after putting this color, Cosmos, on the blue base. So everything else I kind of picked. And this is Sea Dancer. I love this color too. So I had these two colors in mind. Sadly, this color kind of gets overpowered by the other colors in this pour. So I think I may try these colors in a bloom together too. But anyway, the idea is I kind of want the blue negative space. And if you follow my channel, you know I've been down this road before. Oh yeah. And Baronia Burgundy and Mallee Ringneck Blue Boom Gel. So before I forget, I have discount codes listed below for Colourarte and for Pixel Paint Designs. All right, everyone. So let's get started. I've laid down my pillow paint, which I believe I used a Valspar. If not, it was Glidden Premium in Satin. I'm laying down my Phthalo blue as a large puddle, really intending for that to be our base color. As you can see, I did not do an amazing job of fully covering the white. So going into it, I'm understanding that I'm going to have some challenges in my negative space, and I'm going to have to improvise a little bit. And I could have obsessed about it at this point, but, you know, might as well roll with it. So now I'm going to drizzle the Australian Red Violet, which looks great against that Phthalo blue. And basically, I'm going to take the Australian Red Violet and the Diox Purple and sort of drizzle them in layers. It's always kind of good to have, when you're working with pigments or super sparkly paint, it's always kind of good to have a regular acrylic paint toward the bottom and toward the top. It just helps stabilize your cells a little bit. If you have nothing but pigments and nothing but sparklies, sometimes they struggle to hold their structure because they don't have the binders like acrylic paint does. So it's just kind of a good sandwich effect, best practice. So what I put in the middle was the French Silk, which is a PrizmPour paint. And it's kind of a creamy base with like a gold shift. So now I'm just kind of drizzling a little bit more. And this is Sea Dancer, which I love this color. And this color kind of ends up looking a little bit muted, maybe because I put some of the French Silk underneath it. And it's, you know, a PrizmPour color might be stronger than a Primary Elements color. And there's the Cosmos. So I have a little bit of these two pigments left mixed up. I think I'd like to try all these colors in a bloom and see how they do. But I entirely kind of built this around putting Cosmos on Phthalo blue. And I think it looks really pretty against that blue background. So I'm just drizzling a little bit of the other colors at the top, popping a couple of the crazy bubbles. Now at this point, you can see that I have used a lot of paint. So I'm starting to lose the bulk of my paint around the edge, and I can already tell I'm going to have some composition challenges because of that. So I'm layering my cell activator on my palette knife. So I'm using Lamp Black from Graham, all with Australian Floetrol. Using a little bit of titanium white cell activator, which was kind of old, to be honest, and a pearl violet cell activator from Amsterdam. And then I put a little Burgundy boom gel and Mallee Ringneck boom gel on top of my cell activator. And just to clarify, I know for those of you who do blooms, you probably know this, but the boom gels are not cell activators, but sometimes you can put a color or a boom gel on top of your cell activator, and when you spread it out, it's sort of like a loaded palette knife type swipe. So obviously the middle is cool, the outer edges are not, but we're probably going to lose them as we spin. So where you can see those color blocks that I missed with the palette knife, I'm just kind of making them look a little bit more intentional. And then just kind of guiding with my skewer. I'm kind of tweaking the top right there, but also knowing I'm probably going to lose it. But just in case any part of it stays, I want to make sure that we kind of tweak it before we spin it. So now I have to deal with those weird white spots that are kind of blended into the blue. So I dipped my skewer into the Cosmos, and I'm kind of drawing through those weird white places and just trying to add some detail. I know right there at the bottom I'm gonna have to do something extra, and when I do something extra I end up hating it, so you'll see shortly. I tried to make it work. That I'm actually about to do it. So that's my little palette knife, my little square. So I'm putting black and white cell activator and green interference. Excuse me, which is normally okay, but the white cell activator made that way too colorful instead of like a transparent. Plus I just didn't layer it really well. So you can see like, okay, it seems odd. It doesn't go with its friends there. So I'm trying to like draw some lines through the end. To me, it kind of looks like a snake head. But I either used too much white cell activator or too much interference green. So it's just too much concentrated color. It doesn't flow with the rest of the painting. So you'll see that I obsess over this and I try to fix it. I end up, excuse me, having to do something about it because I just can't deal with it. But so if you're worried about the snakehead, hang with me. We'll make it a little bit better. So now I'm continuing to focus my energy on this other side. So dipping my skewer in Cosmos and kind of drawing a line on that side. I kind of like the lines that you get when you do that. It's just a good way to add a little extra pop of color, especially if you know that your hand's maybe not steady enough to, you know, do some detail with a palette knife or add a little more cell activator. If the very fine lines and stuff, I don't necessarily trust myself to do. So I'd rather take a skewer and mess with it. So I shifted the weight of the paint up a little bit because we know that where our eye is going to need to land is in that center part. So now I'm kind of spinning to see how much of it's going to fly off, and back to obsessing about the snake head, you know? So what I should have done there, if I was going to do that, is just do the black cell activator and maybe even the pearl violet if I wanted to. Keep the white out so we keep mostly lacing, and just a touch of the interference color. That would have been a good pop of interference color without the white, and it would have been more transparent and sheer, so it wouldn't have been an eyesore. So now I'm taking some of the Sea Dancer, doing the same thing with the skewer, trying to kind of blend a little bit, help that weird spot kind of merge with the kind of the wave of the swipe. And then I kind of wanted to see, okay, where are we going to lose our design? Is that snake head going to go all the way to the end? So at this point, I'm aware that I'm going to lose probably everything on the top, which is good because it's awkward now, and probably the other side, but we still have the snake head. So at this point, I'm like, I got to do something about that. I can't leave it like that because all of our attention is drawn to it. And even if I were to spin it off, it wouldn't spin all the way off. So I love the colors together. Obviously at this point, this is turning out completely different than I intended, which, you know, big surprise, right? Fluid art does what it wants. So what I end up doing, excuse me, in a minute is I load up that palette knife, the little one again. I omit the white and I just do the black cell activator with a little interference green, and I kind of swipe over that part. It is not perfect, but it is less of an eyesore than what I originally did. And I'll have to show you the dried result in another video, but it looks a lot cleaner now that it's dry. I do need to step up my game in using the smaller tools because I tend to be very basic in how I use them. It's like, I don't know. It's like I'm just not used to using them. I use them here and there, but that just like swipe across probably could have been a little bit more swervy, and I could have probably made it gel a little bit better. But at this point, we've also spun out most of our extra pillow paint. So where I'm trying to draw with the skewer and kind of clean up that edge so it doesn't look so boxy, you can see that I'm going into the pillow paint. So I used a little bit of what was left of the phthalo blue to kind of soften that edge. And that helped. And what's really nice is now that that's dry, the interference green, it adds a little nice pop into that edge. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoy this journey. I obviously sped this up substantially. This swipe took me like 45 minutes because of all the tweaking I had to do. But I am trying to challenge myself to try to do swipes in a different way because there's so much you can do with swipes that is really a lot of fun. But I tend to stick to what I'm good at rather than taking some of those risks. And then that last spin, we really opened up the color part of this, and I really think it looks beautiful. I love how that Cosmos held its color and still stayed like that nice pop of that pink against the dark background. I love the lacing where you can see the Diox purple in right toward that negative space. And I just love the colors together. So again, not what I intended, but I do love the result. And I love that we have the blue negative space in the background of some of those lacing lines and skewer lines of color. So I'm going to bring you in for a close-up in just a minute. At this point, I'm just trying to kind of soften that edge so it blends a little bit with what's next to it. Sorry about my voice. I don't know why I have a scratchy voice today, but that's all I'm really doing is just trying to make them look like they're supposed to go together, you know. I tend to overanalyze and overthink some of those minor details. I think we all do, right? But I love the movement in it, and I'm really glad I swiped over the snake head. Make sure you pay attention for our winner announcements on Monday. And here comes a close-up. All right, so here's our close-up. I love this part. I feel like my Sea Dancer kind of got swallowed by the Dioxazine purple, which is a bummer, but I definitely wanted this cosmic color to pop against the blue, and I did get that result. I love this part right here, which, if you recall, was kind of where I missed the swipe. I don't love those little dots, but I'm not going to obsess over them. I love this up here. Beautiful. I love the little kind of gold around the cells. Up here where I had some white showing through in my pillow, I added just some streaks of the cosmos and various color throughout the painting. I love this part. This is not at all what I intended, but that's been the theme lately. I kind of like that we have negative space here with very subtle lacing into another colorful section. I like everything up until down here. I don't love this, but I like it better than what was there before. So if I look at the whole piece, I like it. But I What I did wrong when I swiped over that white part is I used black and white cell activator and then an interference color, and the white made it too pronounced. So I should have just used black and the interference, and then I would have had more lacing than like cells, and it wouldn't have been so pronounced. So, but you know, you don't know stuff until you try it. So anyway, thanks for hanging with me on this one. I do like it a lot. It just, sometimes I would just love it if I like go to paint and like what I go to paint actually happens. Happens every once in a blue moon that you're like, hey, that's exactly what I had in my head. But most of the time, not so much. But I do love it, and I appreciate everyone's support. Have a great day. Don't forget to check out the description box below. Lots of discounts and links and all that jazz. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.